Welcome, fellow truth seekers, to our cosmic corner of the internet. Today we are honored to bring you a profound and transformative experience with the renowned Andromedan contactee, Alex Collier. But before diving into cosmic wisdom, we kindly ask you to lend your support. Please take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon for notifications. By doing so, you help us amplify Alex Collier's knowledge and reach a wider audience. Together, let's ignite the awakening of consciousness around the world. This video contains the entire 90-minute webinar number 49. Alex delves into several enlightening topics in this webinar, including black hats frantic to get ahead of their own collapse, white hats move to protect humanity, shifting power dynamics, emerging technologies, Hawaii's nuclear concerns, extraterrestrial influence, galactic plane crossing, parallel realities merging, underground bases and regressive energies, humanity's future, continuation of webinar 48, and much more. At the end of his monologue, Alex also answers questions from the audience.
Miraculously coming to you from Morocco, Scotland, and the state of Colorado. I have to admit, even after 49, I'm amazed this still works, sort of. I hope you're all well. So we're just going to get right into it because I know that this is a very advanced group. We were just talking while JP was feeding his hamsters that turned the wheel for his internet. That you remember it's called "It's a Mad World." Well, that's sort of what we're living in at this moment. And good Lord, good Lord, write this script. It is just, whew. You know, I know for a fact Mornay's up there looking down, shaking his head, and it's probably a wonder it hasn't rolled off his shoulders yet. Because of just the sheer lunacy of the nonsense that's going on in the world. And, you know, I know that a lot of people are feeling a lot of pressure, and they're feeling all this darkness. Guys, they want it to look dark, okay? I mean, they want it to look dark, and it isn't nearly as bad as they want you to believe it is. Because you see, the more fear porn that they put out, the more fear they have everybody in, the more power and control they know that you're going to give them, because we've all been trained for the last 1,000 years to give away our power, to disempower ourselves when we don't feel like we're in control. And they have spent a great deal of time and effort dumbing down the population, creating false religions, and just feeding us absolute garbage in propaganda to make sure that you know, that we're fully trained in order to give our power away. And of course, whatever it is that they want us to do, we should really be doing the exact opposite, okay? And so we're going to have a chat about what's going on. Now, I guess we'll start off with Hawaii. It appears that some morons tried to launch a live nuclear weapon, and that, of course, was not going to be allowed to happen one way or another. And I want you all to know that the detonation of any nuclear weapon breaches, okay, it pierces the dimensional barrier between third and fourth density. And it causes a lot of problems. Imagine, if you could, living through possibly the worst earthquake you've ever been in, where just the ground beneath you and everything that is your reality is shaken to the core. Well, that's what happens when we detonate nuclear weapons here in third density. That's what happens to fourth, okay? It creates this havoc, this catastrophe of some sort. And that's just not going to happen, okay? And I know that there are a lot of people who are in fear. The detonation of nuclear weapons is not going to occur. This solar system has a history of nuclear warfare. It's the remnants of that are on Mars, they are on Earth, they are on other moons in our solar system. It may very well be that Moldak, before it collided, which is now our asteroid belt, that it was nuked in a war between the Nibiruans and other groups from outside our solar system. And, you know, everybody's pretty sick with this. They're pretty much fed up with all of this nonsense. And I just want you to know that those things can disappear. They could be turned off. I don't know exactly what happened with Hawaii. There are intelligence reports that something came out of the water and it blew up. Not exactly clear yet who it was that took it out, whether it was Earth forces or extraterrestrial forces, or in fact our own space fleet. We will get that information eventually, but the only ones who know that now are those with zebra clearance or rhyolite, and none of them are talking. So they're the ones who would know. There's a flock of Canadian geese here nibbling on the grass. They've got some babies that are pretty cute. If you're paying attention to the world, oh my God, and you're watching the mainstream news or kind of glancing at it, I don't actually suggest that you actually watch the mainstream news. It isn't good for your health. It isn't good for your psyche. And the programming is definitely not good for your soul. And then if you're looking at the alternative media, which is virtually the exact opposite or extreme of the mainstream media, it's almost as if the mainstream and the alternative media are two completely different realities, especially their perspective, because there is such an extreme difference. And as you are looking at that difference, what you should be beginning to realize is that gray area that used to be in the middle is now about that big. Okay, that's the gray area now. And at some point, they're going to come together. And one of two things is going to happen. All hell is going to break loose, or we're going to be separating the two realities. Now, we have spoken here before on parallel realities and how the last two are merging together. And understand that is still occurring, okay? And that could be why there's this very, very gray area, because these two paradigms, groundedness, spirituality, and lunacy, I don't know what else to call it, are sort of beginning to come together here. There isn't this large gap. It's very, very short. And they're hitting each other. They're butting their heads. And it's going to get a little more bizarre here in the next year, 16, 17 months. It is. It's going to get a little more bizarre. However, as we have spoken of before, it's important to remember that your energy goes where you focus. And if you're going to create, or whatever you're focused on, you're creating, okay? Your energy, your ability to manifest will always flow towards what you focus on. Actually, it's been going on for quite some time. It's just that we weren't able to see it, or we didn't focus on it, we didn't want to be aware of it, or we knew it was there the whole time, and we simply chose to ignore it. Well, we can't do that anymore because of the merging of these frequencies. And what's happening here to humanity is, and I'm going to take this off-world and then bring it back into the world. Our solar system is moving around our sun elliptically. And as our sun is traveling through space around the galaxy, we are moving in a pattern of up and then down. And we've talked about this in previous webinars. But we are now crossing the galactic plane. And I know no one's talking about this. And I absolutely don't have a clue why. Because they know where we are. Okay? And that galactic plane is not only full of debris, but it is years and years and years thick of plasma. And plasma has an electrical charge, both positive and negative. So what you focus on is what you create. The planet herself, Earth, she is very, very clear on what it is that she wants. Okay, she wants to expand, to make room for more life. She is literally, in many respects, reset from a male frequency, which is what we had on this trip up, okay, and then coming down. And as we're passing through, we are now moving into the feminine principle. This is important to remember. There is no way that this is going to be business as usual. It just isn't going to happen because it's a completely different frequency. And if you know anything about anything, when it comes to energy, it's all about balance. So we have been completely out of balance with the male energy. As we're passing through the galactic plane and these years of the plasma field, when we come out the other end, we will be, the Earth and humanity will be at a different frequency. And I'm talking about all physical life. That does not mean that everything, all life forms are going to change. They will be, to a degree, altered. But new life forms will come out of the old. There will be a migration, an alteration, an expansion. DNA will change. And it's called adaptability. And all life does this. And as this continues to occur, we move into the feminine principle. The feminine principle now, the female species of all things, will become more empowered. They will regain their power. The masculine is going to have to adapt to that and come into a place where we are in partnership, in a supportive role in partnership with the feminine principle. Now, what does that look like a couple years down the road here? Well, if you look at the religions that have suppressed women, specifically the Muslim religion, in many respects the Catholic religion, and the Hebrew religion. And I'm not talking behind closed doors now. I'm talking about it out in the open. Okay, behind closed doors, we all know what happens. You know, yeah, we all know what happens. Women don't take any shit. We got that, okay? But on the outer appearance of what the most of the world sees, it's of course been a very different story. That's all going to shift. Now, when it does shift, there's going to be a period of extreme where women are going to get really pissed off. And it's understandable. It's understandable. It will balance out. And it's going to be very tough for men, for the masculine principle, to deal with this. But it's all about growth. It's all about frequency. If you stay in one attitude, you don't grow. You have to adapt your attitude, your frequency, okay? And the more you adapt, the more you experience, the more growth you have on the inside. And that's what this is all about. Physicality on any plane, any dimension is about spiritual growth, spiritual evolution. And even though you may have been, in your last two lifetimes, Patal, at 11th density, the minute you made the decision to fall back in time, not only did you start over or push the reset button, but even if you had exactly the same journey that you had to get to 11th density, it would still be different because you are not the same soul. So, and a lot of people don't like change. They don't want to change. They don't want to adapt. They want things very structured because they feel safe in their little box. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because that's not what's going to happen here. Okay? That's just simply not what's going to happen. A lot of things. Almost everything. Okay? Over the next period of years, decades, is going to change. And it has to. It has to. In that process, whatever doesn't benefit everyone will be discarded. Politics are going to radically change. The people themselves are going to be more integrative. They are going to be more cognizant, and they are going to be participating in a much greater way in the political welfare of not only our individual countries, but also the world as a whole. Because the perspective of how we relate to each other is going to radically change, especially with the feminine principle now claiming her power back. Women are intuitive, they're logical, they are emotional, they are far more compassionate than men are. nature chose them to give birth because they are the stronger sex. Guys, we're going to have to get our acts together here. Okay, this is going to happen. There is no avoiding it. And actually, this is a really, really good thing. With the exception of that period where the pendulum is going from here to the masculine, and it's going to swing all the way to the feminine. Okay, there's going to be a period where they're going to be really upset with the male principle. And I already know a lot of women already are. But that's not my point. They will be in a position to act it out. And the shorter that period of time is, the sooner we get back into balance, all of humanity, and we can begin to move forward. And that moving forward has to be with a focus of compassion and spiritual evolution of our human race. This is what the real ET intervention's about. They're not here to save us. They are definitely not here to babysit. God knows who the hell would want to babysit this race. Okay? It's about giving us a reflection of something different. When those of us who meet on these webinars and do chat rooms or texts or emails, and we converse with each other, I'm a different person because of that exchange, that interaction. Because your perspectives, your way of speaking, your ideas, the energy that comes from your words has an impact on me, and vice versa, okay? And out of that comes growth. And most growth is in an evolutionary way, consciously, spiritually, emotionally, etc. With the intervention of extraterrestrials, even the regressive ones, they brought in technology that was throwaway to them that gives us very differently in the future once we get it out of the black projects. And it's coming, and we'll get to that today. All right? Their psychology, their idea of dominating, of being in control, of manipulating the consciousness of an underdeveloped race, that's left a great deal of emotional scars on humanity. And when all of that comes to the surface, which is what's happening now, there is going to be a great deal of righteous anger with everybody on the planet, and justifiably so. All right? And at some point, we're going to have to put all of it in perspective. Okay, this is what happened. It's like a very bad marriage or a very bad relationship, or working for a very bad boss. You know, you can use whatever analogy you want. There comes a time when it's done, and both parties have to push the life reset button, and you move on. Okay? And you move on. Sometimes you leave in anger, sometimes it's amicable, sometimes it's just like, shit, I don't ever want to think about it again. There's all kinds of different scenarios. But you are a different person for it. That experience, whether it's positive or negative or both, has made you become who you are now. Humanity, in the end, will be better for all this shit that's going on. And we have to focus on that perspective of moving on and empowering ourselves. Otherwise, we remain the victim, and as long as we remain the victim, we are disempowered, and we give others the opportunity to manipulate us. And we don't ever want to do that. There's no future in that at all. So we have to recognize that, and whatever it is that makes us the victim, we as a humanity have to throw that shit in the trash. And I mean the sooner the better. Just throw it in the trash and walk away. Don't put any more energy into it. Okay, no more focus. We don't throw any more money at the churches because it really hasn't empowered anybody. And it's all coming to light. It's all coming to light. And it will. Everything's coming to light. You know, the way we know of life is we are coming up on the big reset button. Okay? We are. The big reset button is just ahead of us. And we'll all know when that moment is. Okay? We will know. Because we will recognize the shift. And you're either going to stay on the timeline that is positive, that is abundant, that is full of love and compassion, and is beneficial for everyone, or you're just going to have to leave because the frequency of the planet is not holding and will no longer be able to hold on to the frequency of war, hatred, bigotry, racism, all of that. That is going away. That is an incredibly harmful low frequency. And it's going away. It's just emotionally, spiritually, many on the planet are very, very immature. And they're going to act out. All right? The first thing they're going to do is they're going to become enraged and they're going to act out. They're going to lash out. And you know, we're seeing that more and more and more. You know, here in the United States, in college campuses, mostly in California, you know, there are people protesting free speech. College students are protesting free speech. I can't quite wrap my head around that. I really can't, because in order for them to say what they want to say, they have to exercise free speech. So how could you be against something that you're using to express your opinion? It's just knucklehead stuff, okay? So that's what's going on. We're in this plasma cloud, and we have all these things going on. The frequencies are changing everywhere. And the dark forces, those who have had power for thousands of years, they have issues. They have enormous, enormous issues. And all those issues center around the idea that they have lived in this bubble, separate from humanity, thinking that they own humanity, that they control humanity, and that they have a right by divine decree, by bloodline, by a lineage to this Anunnaki group, this Nibiru group, this Nephilim group, this Orion group, this Palladian group, whatever, that they have a right to control, manipulate, and harm other life forms just because. Well, that game is for sure over. And I want you to know that some of the elite, They are already asking if they can go into the underground bunkers so that no one will find them. Okay, they're grabbing their wealth. They are doing everything they can to hide it and put it somewhere before the world comes after them. And they are asking for permission to go into the underground bunkers and live there for a while, which they can. I mean, those bunkers have already been set up, okay, for them anyway. And it remains to be seen whether or not that's going to be allowed to happen. I'm just letting you know that that is what's in fact they're asking to do. They want to leave the surface because they realize the jig is up. And it's because they're cowards. Okay? A strong person doesn't hurt you. Only the weak ones do. Remember that. And they're not strong. If they were strong, they would have been helping humanity all this time instead of doing what they have done, driving everyone to the brink. That's important to note. Now, in the oceans, there are many underground or underwater bases. Some of them are ET human, some of them are reptilian, some are other things. If it doesn't have a frequency, if they are not here for the benefit of humanity, if they're just neutral, they're going to be asked to leave. There is no more neutrality here. Okay, you are either for assisting and mentoring this race on this planet, or you're out of here. That's what it is. There's no more neutrality. You have to pick a side at this point. Okay? Just for a while, you have to pick a side. Because humanity, this is extremely important time for us, those of us on the surface of the planet. Because we are not only just coming into our power, or regaining our power and awakening from thousands of years of coma and manipulation, but we're not really sure who we are as a race. Okay, our history, the true history of the planet and the races and our relationship with off-world star nations has been completely hid from us. And even if we go back into ancient history, the Tamil, the Sumerians, the Vedic texts, the Babylonians, the Chaldeans, the Old Testament, okay, these other holy books, we're told that's mythology, when in fact it is actual history. Some of it has been altered and changed, but that was done by historians and churches and governments to control and manipulate humanity, to hide the fact that we are much more than we've ever been told. Okay, it's important to keep that in mind. Because if you keep that in mind, it will empower you to not become the victim. You will recognize the game that has been thrown at us and we've been subject to for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Okay? This generation, these generations on this planet right now, we set the course and we set the tone for the rest of the history of our world and our race. Okay? We are founding fathers and mothers. Do you understand that? And it doesn't matter how old you are. We are founding mothers and founding fathers right now of our human race, regardless of our colors. This is an incredibly powerful time. Okay? We're the ones in charge. And we just all got to know that. We're the ones in charge. Okay? It is our consciousness that has enslaved us. It is our consciousness that has allowed them to rule and take advantage of us because we bought into the shit. Okay? And it's our consciousness that is now opening up its perspective that allows us to see all this stuff that is going on, that is freeing us. And it's going to be our consciousness that is going to allow us to understand and develop and embrace different forms of technology, different forms of spirituality, different forms of government, different forms of education, different healing modalities. Everything is going to change. And we have to embrace the change. Because the old ways, what we've done, it isn't going to work. Okay, pharmaceuticals, the medical industry that we have today, as our bodies change in frequency, that stuff is never going to happen. It's never going to work on us because it's a completely different paradigm than the one we're actually in. And the one we're in is based on our consciousness. It all starts right here. There is no getting away from it. That's what it is. That's where it's heading. And ladies and gentlemen, we are the ones steering that. Okay? Remember, 3% of the population fought during the American Revolutionary War. 3%. That 3% created a country. That 3%, in doing what they did, fighting to create a constitutional republic and a Bill of Rights where human beings actually had rights that their government had to abide by, which is pretty much new. The Magna Carta tried it. The issue was most of the kings and the monarchies ignored it. Well, for whatever it's worth, America changed the world. Now, as it stands now, I understand both sides of the argument. Some say not so much for the better, some say it absolutely did. Okay? But what it did do was it changed the consciousness of humanity. Humanity began to think of itself, okay, as being free, the idea of having freedom, the idea of actually having rights, the idea of coming and going somewhere and working as hard as you can and benefiting from your own labors and not having to give your wealth away to a despot or a monarch who absolutely didn't appreciate anything you did and would throw you to the front line of a war in a heartbeat, not caring who you were or how many children you had at home. Okay? This shift in how we see the world, how we view the world, how we view and see each other, and the decisions that we begin to make about our place in this world are radically changing. And there are things going on now on the surface that are extraordinary. I want to tell you that, and I don't want to emphasize this again, we're not going to be nuked. The cabal, the Illuminati, these knuckleheads, they have absolutely no right to genocide humanity, and it isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen. No matter what they do, it is not going to happen. And they no longer have the support of their Uber drivers that were going to take them out into space to some other space-based moon. Okay? Just wasn't going to happen. It's no longer going to happen. Because the problem with the dark side is they screw everybody over. There's no honor amongst thieves. Okay? There really isn't. And if you have no honor and you just God, they're stupid. They're just stupid. You know, and now they're freaking out because they got caught. You know, it's inevitable. It's always inevitable. I don't know if they're going to be allowed to go into the underground bunkers. I will keep you posted on that. There is a lot of chatter about 10,000 sealed indictments. I don't know if any of that's true. I've had a very difficult time actually confirming that that's true. I have not confirmed that anybody's been to Gitmo. Can't confirm that either. So I know that there's a lot of rumored stuff out there. But what is the old adage? What is the old adage that's always been around when it comes to wanting to know what's really going on a global scale? That adage is follow the money. Okay? So it's always follow the money. And if you follow the money, you realize that someone's are hoarding all this cash. They are trying to get their hands on all the gold, all the silver, all the platinum, the zinc, etc. They are doing everything they can to hoard anything of value. And that typically are your bad guys. Okay, those are your bad guys. Here in the United States, we have some very serious issues coming with our financial system, with racial strife, which is being fanned and fumed like there's no tomorrow, with racial discriminations, whether you're a dreamer or not. All of these bombs were put in place to tear this nation apart. This was all done on purpose. And there's absolutely plenty of culpability to go around in this process. And as I've said this before, the United States, when the New World Order was making its move, the last country to go down would be the United States. We were put at the end of the line because of the fact that we have the Second Amendment. We all have the right to bear arms. And don't think for a second that they aren't worried about that, because we have the ability to fight back. Where in many countries, they can't do that because they really don't have any rights. Not in the sense totally protect themselves. So we have that issue going on. Getting back to the oceans, I'm sorry, I kind of got off point there. The underground facilities, they're being taken out. If it's regressive, they're being taken out with extreme prejudice. Just want you to know that, okay? Things are moving along now. The pace has picked up. And more excursions are going on underneath the earth, in the tunnels, underneath cities all over the planet. There's flushing out, there are battles going on as we speak. Many of them we're not hearing about, but nonetheless, these things are actually occurring. Because there is some sort of a timeline, and I don't understand exactly. The timeline has to do with humanity getting to a specific point, crossing point in the galactic plane, where this regressive energy has to be absolutely contained. Now, and the reason for that is because of the technology that they hold here on the planet, or in the planet. Okay? It more has to do with the technology. Consciously, there is very little concern that humanity will not free itself. Once it understands what's not only been really going on, but what our true history is, where our civilizations came from, what our DNA is and what it represents. Once all of those facts are laid out to everyone, and quantum physics and quantum mechanics about how consciousness really works, how it engages with physicality and creates physicality, all of that at some point is going to be laid out with crayons to all of us, okay? And I use the term with crayons because they're going to make it real simple so that everybody gets it, okay? That is going to be happening sometime in the near future. I don't have a date, okay? If I did, I'd tell you. But just look at all the information that's coming out already. The government sort of almost openly talking about ETs, about UFOs. And for those of you who are new to this field, the Disclosure Project that Dr. Stephen Greer did years ago was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and is a credit to him and to those who came forward. And I understand that there are other people now doing other similar projects. Once you get to that point, you're like, okay, they're real. The next phase is, well, who are they? What is their reason for being here? What are their intentions in being here? Okay, and beginning to separate the players. And if you really want to know, you're the ones that are going to have to do that work. You're going to have to try to figure that out for yourself. You can ask questions, you can talk to other people, you can listen to other researchers, other contactees, whatever it is that you need to do. But in the end, you're going to need to decide what it is you want to do with that information. And in fact, how important is it? Do I hold on to that? Is that where I want the focus of all my energy to go? Or do I take that reality, take the fact that it exists, they exist, and bring it back to you personally and begin to enrich your own personal life and that of your family with a higher consciousness and with the knowing that not only are we not alone, but we are part of an enormous galactic family. We are connected by DNA. We are connected by genetics, well, genetics and DNA. We are connected by consciousness. And there is no real genuine separation, okay? It is that path that will have the most benefit for each of us individually. But you have to walk that path yourself. You have to get yourself to that place, okay? And whenever you're ready to do it, you do it, okay? Everyone's different. But you need to make those decisions for yourself. You need to empower yourself by making these decisions. Remember, no matter how much wealth you have, no matter how famous you are, your only greatness truly comes from the decisions you make about yourself and how those decisions you make about how to treat others. That's it. That's the bottom line. All that other crap, materialism, none of that means anything. Okay? It means nothing. It's really about the decisions you make. That's your greatness. That is where you flower, you blossom, you move forward in a direction that benefits not only you, but your family. Okay, we're founding fathers and we're founding mothers. We have to change the way we think. We have to change the way we look at the world. Because look at this nonsense. I mean, I could barely stand to even turn on the computer. It's just like, oh my God. A couple times I've come to the library, I didn't even bring my computer because I didn't want to read the nonsense. You know, I didn't want to read it. I don't want to hear it. You know, there's a beautiful lake over here. I'd go for a walk and, you know, just chill. I would just chill. And, you know, and I'd be grounded. I'd be very, very centered. And that's a good place to be. And if you are meditating, if you're doing any prayer work, you will get the information you need. All you have to do is ask for it. Okay? The universe does respond. It do. But you have to ask. You have to be proactive. You have to be intentional in what it is that you want and what you focus on. Intentional. Very important word. So, there is a cleaning house going on in the oceans. There's a cleaning house going on underneath the countries in that 30 to 35, 40 mile area between the surface and in the crust. There's a lot of things going on. There is a cleaning house going on within government. There's a cleaning house going on in the banking system. There is a cleaning house going on in the medical industry. You know, the spring cleaning has begun, officially has begun. In viewing it, please remember to be the observer. Only put your energy where it's going to serve you or serve others. Like I said last webinar, ladies and gentlemen, we have got to watch each other's back. We do. Okay? I mean, God, I wish I could take 3 billion of you off world, hang with the A's for a little while, so that you would see how they treat each other and their perspective and respect for each other is, and how they understand that regardless of which little planet they live on in Zenite, they understand they're all family. Okay? In fact, they even view us as family. And if we could come back with that consciousness and begin to truly see each of us in this light, oh my God, we could change this place in 30 days, forever, and we would have done it on our own. We've just had, you know, one little class trip, one class trip to Zenite, you know, or on a mothership, and hung out for a little while, be the observers, take our notes, and then come back and look at this. Look at what we have here. Look at what's going on. We would absolutely see the divide and conquer strategy and how successful it's been, and how it's been a multi-pronged attack to make sure that humanity does not unite. And it's all been done for selfish reasons, okay, for personal power and wealth. Okay? The next several years, for those who are really paying attention, what you're going to see is a separation from the paradigm today into a new paradigm. I promise you, in 3 years, you're going to look back and you're going to, what's happening today is going to look like ancient history, that we're going to be moving so quickly. Technologies are going to be coming out of the black projects. Technologies that have been hidden and suppressed, they're going to be releasing these because they have no choice. The black projects, these budgets, they have spent fortunes with this technology, and now that they can't leave with it and do whatever it is that they thought they could do, run away and hide from their criminality themselves, now that they know they can't do that and they're stuck here, they're going to begin to release some of this technology. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do this. I mean, just look at the information we're suddenly getting about our galaxy, about our solar system, about our planets. It's very subtle, but they're starting to open up the floodgates and let this information out. Well, it's probably going to be the exact same with the technology. Oh my God, look at this. Look at how this comes about. Look what we discovered, okay? Does it even matter as long as we are able to use the technology? We need free tech. We need free energy technology so we can build desalinization plants. South Africa desperately needs this. They need it yesterday. They should have had the first ones built 2 years ago. All right, and nations all over the planet need desal plants so everybody can get water. I mean, this is just ridiculous, you know. And electric cars. You could take a Tesla, and instead of putting 2 generators, one on the front, on the right, one on the back, on the left, you could put 4 generators on each axle. And all you have to do is add some software so that when one row of batteries turns on and is loaded, the other side kicks on automatically. Now you have an electric car that runs forever, unless something breaks down. Okay, you don't have to stop, you don't have to recharge it. As long as you're running it, it's charging the batteries. Okay, and you have 2 banks of batteries, you're good to go. There's now no mileage trap, 190 miles, nothing. You can go coast to coast in a vehicle like that. And the only reason we don't have something like that is because the governments have passed laws making it illegal to do something like that because they've been protecting the oil companies all these years. Okay, well, that has to change, and it's going to change. Okay, it's going to change. That might take a little bit longer, but if the people want it, they have to do it, you see. Okay, I know that there might be some questions, maybe there isn't. I just want to say that on the behalf of myself and James and JP, we thank you for being on our humble little webinar. I'm in Colorado, JP is in Scotland, and James is in Morocco on holiday. So, it's the internet's a wonderful thing. So, does anybody have any questions, or should I just keep chattering about and boring all of you? I know that JP is pushing buttons, and hopefully they're all working. You there?
Hello.
Hey. Nice to hear you.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Let's just do the questions.
Oh, fabulous.
Let's just do questions.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. From Nick Fowler. Alex, can I ask you your thoughts on this superwave that is supposed to come from the sun by 2023? This is like, people have been talking about this flash thing that comes from the sun.
That's supposed to do something to our DNA. I have heard of this concept.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a reality or not. But, you know, understand that all stars pull their frequency, pull their energy from a higher dimension. Now, it would make sense that if we're going to get some kind of a burst of energy, hopefully it's a fourth density energy. And it would come from our star specifically. It could also be that that pulse, that frequency that bursts out of the sun is information. And that information charges the plasma field that is around our entire solar system because we're passing through it. So as our star bursts, it sends out information. The plasma takes it, and that is what we react to. Not necessarily the star, but the plasma field that surrounds us and is moving through all of us all the time. Okay? Especially when we're this deep in this field as we're crossing the galactic plane. To me, that's more logical because we are in a field of energy. Just as our sun, our star is in that same field of energy. So whatever information comes out of the sun will be dramatically magnified, okay, into the field, the energy field, that we're all marinating in, for lack of a better word. Okay? That's a good question. Thank you, Nick. Is there anybody there?
Okay, from Lyra 330. Yes. 1, 2, testing.
I hear you.
Hello. All right.
I hear you.
All right.
Just ask the question.
It's very rough today. Yeah. From Lyra 330. Alex, I am shown we have new Guardian groups now assisting. Have you heard of the High Lyran Sirius Guardian Councils?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have heard. And that would not surprise me whatsoever. So you have to understand that genetically we are all linked together. Okay? We're family. We're family. And the Lyran councils and many of the others, they totally understand where we're at. I mean, we're not the first suppressed, enslaved race to consciously free itself from its captors. We're not the first, and we may not be the last, I don't know. But they also recognize that in order to be of assistance, we need some type of mentoring so that we can get from this place to where we truly should be. And the only way we're going to do that is to be given an experiential reflection of what could possibly be. And that comes with mentoring. You know, we talked about in very early webinars and even lectures that I've done going back to the 90s. You know, the A's one said that we had an enormous amount of technology on the planet, circuit boards and the such, that we weren't even using correctly, that we were not using them at all to their full potential. So there's a lot we don't know that's literally right in our face because we just don't see it. We don't recognize it because it isn't in our consciousness yet. And what is in our consciousness, which is what is entering our consciousness, we begin to see. Okay, it begins to manifest in front of us, And then we're like, oh my God, it's been there the whole time, or it's been there for a very long time, or, I recognize this or that now. It's like a guy coming home and one day he says to his wife, hey, honey, did you color your hair? And she'll look at him and say, yeah, 4 weeks ago. Okay, it's probably not a good analogy, and I probably got a lot of people in trouble just now because I've been there. I've been there. Okay, but it's sort of like that. Okay, it's I mean, we have to maintain a sense of humor here, folks. Otherwise, the place gets dark in a heartbeat. And we don't want dark, okay? We don't want dark, all right? Because then you got to use a flashlight. If you're the light, then everywhere you go is day. Okay, that's what we want. We want to be the day, not the night. So, okay, JP.
All right. This question is from Lee. Alex, about the wildfires in California. Many people believe the fires are started by directed energy weapons, with their homes catching on fire spontaneously. Does it have anything to do with those fires? And is it part of their genocide plan?
I don't think so. I don't know that weapons were being used at all. I've heard that. Some folks have sent me emails, and somebody even sent me a picture from a video of what looks like a laser beam coming out of the sky, which was either from a ship or a satellite, an SDI satellite. I don't know for a fact that that's the case. I don't know. If that was done intentionally, I am sure that whoever did that, whoever made those decisions, will answer for it. And I would expect that that's the case.
Thank you. This question from Lauren. If the Andromedans can remember past lives, does it mean that they can remember lives from higher dimensions and other universes? Can they take this knowledge and apply it to their current lives?
That is that's from Lauren? Oh, God, that's awesome. That is a fantastic question.
Yeah, we always love Lauren's questions.
That's an outstanding question. And the answer is no. They cannot remember lives from a higher density. Excellent question. They can remember them in the same dimension or frequency, and in many cases in a lower dimension. Okay, they can remember those. But those from a higher level frequency, they can't. Now, I asked Macias the question, and he didn't answer it for me. Several months later, Mornay answered the question for me, and that's because the mind is wired for the specific frequency that they are in. And in its totality, that's where they are. Now, even though they can wear a belt or technology and go from 5 to 6 and stand in the presence of 6 density beings who mentor them as well, okay, they cannot remember past lives that they had in that 6th density, even though they've been told that at one time or another that their particular souls were there and chose at some point to go back into a lower vibration for whatever their reasons are, to assist, to help, to mentor, to experience something that they felt they needed. But that's an outstanding question, Lauren. That's an outstanding question. So, but their minds are wired too, from what I understand, for all the densities. Okay? So we all have that in common. See, we actually have more in common with many of these other races, star nations, than we realize. Okay? You know, we're not the little rascals here. We're not the dead end kids. We have things that we bring to the table. Our emotional expansion, our extremes of emotions, our creativity, using our emotions, our ability to create music and to sing and create harmonies regarding our experience here on Earth. You know, when it comes to that, to the artistic things, hey guys, we got it going on. We do. We got it going on here. And a lot of star nations are like, they're impressed. They are impressed with our ability to create sound, to create music as we know it, and to create songs about our life and our experience. We got that going on here. We do. And, you know, that might be that once the mentoring's begun, that might be something where we as a race assist them. It could be that some of our first ambassadors are songwriters. You know, I mean, just think about it. Might be songwriters. Because of their ability to express and to create sound, harmonics, because everything is color, light, and sound. Everything, everywhere, every dimension is color, light, and sound. It's just banded by a frequency border. Okay, but inside each of those borders is color, light, and sound. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be the first day of school for all of us when those days come. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to bringing my electric guitar on board a ship and showing them what I can do.
I would probably start with an acoustic. I don't know that you're...
From Marvin.
I'd bring the acoustic. The electric may not work.
All right. Well, I got some. Well, you know, I'm sure they could plug a little thing in, like they did to your. Anyway, from Marvin DeHont, who? Now, this is a really good question. Who will ask the bad ET? Well, who will ask the ETs to leave? You said a lot of these ET in bases. Who's the ones who's going to say?
Okay, this is already happening. Which specifically, which groups? I'm not calling them councils because they're not councils. But out of the different ET groups that are here, they have paired themselves off into 3 very specific groups. One deals specifically with technology. That's their forte. Another group specifically deals with environmental technology. There are issues with the planets, okay, the ecosystem. That's their forte. And then there's the political, although that's not really the right word, but that's the only word I know to use, the political and spiritual group who are part of councils and who negotiate treaties and negotiate conflicts between other star systems whenever they do occur or come up. Trade agreements, things of that nature, they handle those type of things. That's the group. Technology would be A, the environmental would be C, the B group, okay, the B group, the big bosses, they are the group who have in fact sent people here to talk to these groups and it basically told them this is what it is. This is what it is, and this is the group where previous agreements had been made, and then they were reneged on by the reptilians and some of the hardcore Orion groups that are here, some of the Anunnaki, the Nephilim. After an agreement had been made to leave and they were going to be given passage, they reneged, the groups here on the Earth. That's the group that is essentially telling them what is, okay, and what for. And they are backed by at least 17 other star systems that have pledged to use force if necessary. Now, it's important to note that the reason it isn't more than 17 star nations, it's because these 17 specific star nations have history with this group that's here now and has been here for several thousands of years. They have direct history with this group. And they wanted to participate in flushing the toilet, in cleaning the pipes, so to speak, rotor-rooter time, okay? That's who's assisting our Starfleet in eradicating the rats, okay? That's what it is. And I know somebody's going to ask me for the names. I have to ask if I'm allowed to do that, okay? You'll recognize most of them, though. At least 5 right off the bat you'll recognize. Okay, they're no strangers to Earth or Earth history. But the others I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about. It's all good. It's all good. It is.
That sounds very good. Is this the 22 races that were bothered by the reptilians? And how's that other group doing? We were like 21 out of 22. How's that other group?
You mean the other star nation, the other groups that have been freed? Is that your question?
Yes.
Good. I don't know.
Yes.
I honestly don't know. I haven't asked the question, and I will ask the question about the other 21 groups. How are they doing? You know, I'm so focused on us. You know, I'm just so focused on us. But I will ask that question, and I apologize for not knowing. But you know, I don't know everything. My fuzzy head would explode if I did.
So, Alex, from Michael Hartwell, Alex, updates on the Archons as of now.
No, to my knowledge, they're not a factor. They are really no longer a factor. Right now, it's the Anunnaki and the reptilians.
Okay. From beyond, the CERN Hadron Collider still operative and usable by regressive entities. Can they currently go to the 4th, 5th?
No. I'm sure they're playing games with it, but they're not really getting anywhere with it. What's interesting is that under Los Alamos Laboratory, they built something very, very similar to it, but they're calling it a gate, a Stargate. And we have our own Hadron Collider being built in absolute nowhere, Canada. And I know China is building 2 Hadron Colliders of their own. So I'm not sure where all this is going, and I'm not sure what their true motivation is in doing this. I don't know, but I know that's what's going on. I know for a fact China's building two. I know for the fact that we're building one in Nowhere, Canada, and I know about the Stargate in Los Alamos. But they're not able to go anywhere with it, okay? They may fire it up, they may turn it on, and they may get to a certain point, and then nothing happens. It just sits there at that same point. Or it turns itself off, and then they have to reboot it. And they'll do it, and they'll get to that same point, and then it turns itself off, okay? That's what's going on. I mean, they're clearly being given boundaries, but they're just not listening. They're not listening, and it could be that they're just being pressured by the cabal, the Illuminati, the regressive ETs to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And if they don't do it, they'll be terminated, and somebody will be there to replace them who will keep doing it, okay? You got to remember that this group is completely cornered here. They are completely cornered. And, you know, they haven't had to answer. Some of them have never had to answer for what they've done to other evolving star nations. The hurt that they have put on other civilizations, the physical and psychic damage that they've caused to these star nations, these other evolving planetary systems and races, not all of them are human, has been profound, and they've never had to answer for it. But now they're sort of cornered here, and they're freaking out a bit because, you know, it's slowly seeping in, you know, how screwed they are. Okay, how screwed they are. And, you know, as it gets closer to that moment where the hammer absolutely drops on them, you know, they're going to be skitzing out a little bit. They definitely are. And they're going to lash out at the slaves because they're not doing enough to protect their slave masters. Go figure, right? So it's a tough spot for many of those scientists. I feel for them. But for those of them who knew what they were getting into and they did it for the paycheck, well, you're on your own. You know, you're on your own. So, okay, we got time for a couple more questions.
Okay, so this is two questions from the same from two people, and it's about the AI. One from Bjorn, one from Sherry. Will the evil aspect of AI go away as we rise into higher dimensions?
Yes.
Yes. And have other parts of the Milky Way galaxy, other than our solar system, infested with the evil AI? And how are they dealing with it? And is that the great tyranny?
Okay, good question. Regarding, well, they haven't fully unleashed AI here yet. And hopefully they never will. But as we move up in frequency, the higher we get in vibration and frequency and dimensions, the less dependent we are on technology. So we won't need it. That's number one. It has uses, and I've talked about this before, in a very, very narrow parameter. It has uses, but not to manage a civilization, ever. Now, as far as the threat of AI and the regressiveness of it, my understanding is that the archons are being driven out of the galaxy, and that's ongoing, whatever little groups, pockets there are of them. And the groups that have been able to manage to skip out of third and move into fourth, or that very, very small contingency that went to fifth, they're completely contained. And my understanding is that they no longer have an existence, those that went into fifth. After a great deal of study, those life forms were retired, for lack of a better word. And as far as fourth, they're being driven out of the galaxy. So, but that's all I know, and that information's relatively old compared to what's going on this, here. I mean, that information's probably 4 or 5 months old. So I don't have any new information other than that. I will add that to my question list, And I have, what is this called here? Paper blanks. I have a paper blanks, and because I like these. This is where I do my notes, and I put all of my notes for the lectures. And this is my last one. I'm down to my last few pages, and so this is where I have my questions. And so next time I talk to him, I will ask that question regarding AI and the regressive fields in our galaxy. Okay. One more question.
All right, from Bjorn, the hexagon-shaped storm on the north pole of Jupiter, he said, no, I think it's Saturn, and the purpose of the rings of Saturn.
Was there a question in there?
What is the purpose? Have the A's mentioned the purpose of the hexagon-shaped storm?
No, I'm aware of it. But again, I have mentioned this to you before, that Saturn is this generator of energy. And if we knew how to tap into it, it would literally power our entire planet. Okay? Everything and all things electrical. It has that ability. And like our stars that pull frequency from higher dimensions, I would suspect that Saturn does the same. It may be a different type of frequency. It could be that it absorbs sound and then generates that as some type of power source. But I don't know. I don't have anything hard to tell you on that. I will add that to my list. Okay, the hexagon on North Pole of Saturn. What's it about? Okay, got it. Good questions today.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you for your time and your energy. I love you. I love you all. See you soon. Take care.
Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey of self-discovery and cosmic enlightenment with Alex Collier. Your support means the world to us. If you found this video insightful, please show your appreciation by giving it a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon to receive notifications for future uploads. Doing so lets you stay connected with the latest cosmic revelations and helps us spread Alex Collier's profound teachings to a broader audience. Remember, every like, subscription, and bell click can awaken more minds and ignite a collective shift in consciousness. We encourage you to share your thoughts, reflections, and questions in the comments below, as your engagement fuels the expansion of knowledge and fosters a vibrant community of truth seekers. Together, we can uncover the hidden truths of the universe and embark on a journey of cosmic transformation. Until we meet again, keep seeking, growing, and shining your light in the vast cosmic tapestry. If you would like to see Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we host an online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information and dates of upcoming online seminars, please visit alexcollier.org. Please watch one of the above videos to find out more about Alex's knowledge.